Good morning, students. Welcome to the class today. Today we are going to see History Lesson 2 Ancient Civilizations. In this lesson, we are going to learn about the early societies and state formations, how the societies formed, then to understand the development of civilizations, then to learn about the ancient Egyptian civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, Chinese civilization, and the Indus Valley civilization. Societies that adopted complex ways of life were more organized than the early hunter gatherer and Neolithic farming societies. Urban societies had social stratification and well planned cities. They practiced crafts, engaged in trade and exchange, adopted science and technology, and formed political organization. These are all called early form of state. Hence, the term civilization is used to distinguish them from the early forms of societies. However, they should not be considered superior to other forms of societies since each culture or civilization had its own unique features. Now, what is ancient civilizations? Civilization is seen as an advanced, organized way of life. It is occup- the people adapted to particular environmental and cultural contexts. When it became necessary for a large number of people to live close together, they brought in planning, organization, and specialization. Settlements were planned and laid out. A polity emerged. Society became organized, and food production and craft production were regulated. As civilization began to take shape, huge buildings were built, the art of writing developed, and science and technology contributed to the betterment of society. The Egyptian, Mesopotamian, the Chinese, and the Indus were the important early civilization. While these civilizations flourished in certain regions, people in other parts of the world lived as hunter gatherers and pastoralists. During the time of these civilizations, South India witnessed the emergence of Neolithic agro-pastoral communities and microlithic form of life by hunter-gatherers. First one is the Egyptian civilization. As one of the oldest civilization of Egyptian civilization is known for its monumental architecture, agriculture, arts and sciences and crafts as a very early age. What is the geographical location? Egypt lies in the northeastern corner of the African continent. It is bounded by the Red Sea on the east and Mediterranean Sea in the north. Egypt is irrigated by the river Nile, which originates in Lake Victoria. Where the river Nile originates? It originates in Lake Victoria in the south and flows into the Mediterranean Sea in the north. Deserts are seen on both sides of the Nile River. The Egyptian civilization depended solely upon the flow of river Nile, and hence Egypt was called as the gift of Nile by the Greek historian Herodotus. The Nile also served as a means of transport. The Nile Valley is very rich and fertile as the river deposits fresh alluvium every year. This alluvium nurtured agriculture and helped to produce surplus of food grains, leading to the development of Egyptian civilization. The dry regions on both sides of the river Nile, however, remain deserts. Egypt became intimately connected with the Sangam age Tamilagam by the sea road. Shall we study the ways? The Hyksos were the rulers of 15th dynasty of Egypt and they were probably from West Asia. Second, Persians. Persians are the people from the regions of Persia, the ancient Iran. Greek refers to the language and people of modern day state of Greece in Europe. Rome. Rome refers to the ancient Roman Empire, which had as its capital the city of Rome in Italy. Then, Pharaoh's societies and administration. The Egyptian king was known as Pharaoh. The people treated Pharaoh as a divine form. Under the Pharaoh, there was a hierarchy of officials including viziers, the governors of provinces, local mayors, and the tax collectors. The entire social system was supported by the work and protection of artisans, including stonecutters, masons, potters, carpenters, coppersmiths, and goldsmiths, peasants, and workers. Land belonged to the king and was assigned to the officials. Slavery was not common, but captives were used as slaves. Viziers. Who were viziers? Viziers were the high officials who administered the territories under the direction of the pharaohs. The Egyptians believed in the life after death. Therefore, they preserved the dead body. The art of preserving dead body is known as mummification. What is mummification? The art of preserving the dead body is known as mummification. Pyramids and tombs were built to preserve the body pharaohs. The famous Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun's tomb with a rich variety of offerings is located near Luxor in Egypt. The mask of his mummy, made of gold and decorated with precious stones, is an important artifact of the Egyptian civilization. Then, agriculture and trade of Egyptian culture. The Egyptians cultivated wheat, barley, millets, vegetables, fruits, papyrus, and cotton. Papyrus was used for making rope mats and later for producing paper. They domesticated cattle, sheep, goat, and pigs and hunted wild animals. They had pets such as dogs, cats, and monkeys. The Egyptians had trade relations with Lebanon, Crete, Phoenicia, Palestine, and Syria. They also some goods were imported. What are the goods they imported? Gold, silver, ivory, and also they acquired the lapis lazuli, a precious stone of bluish color from Afghanistan. Whenever we say Egypt, we can remember one word, that is mummies. Yes, mummies of Egypt. The preserved dead body is called as mummy. The Egyptians had the tradition of preserving the dead bodies using natron salt. It is a combination of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. The preservation process is called mummification. After 40 days, when the salt absorbed all the moisture, the body was filled with sawdust and wrapped with strips of linen cloth and covered with a fabric. The body was stored in a stone coffin called sarcophagus. What is sarcophagus? The body was stored in a stone coffin is called a sarcophagus. Art and architecture of Egyptian people. The Egyptians excelled in art and architecture. Their writing is also a form of an art. Numerous sculptures, paintings, and carvings attest to the artistic skills of the Egyptians. The pyramids are massive monuments built as tombs of mourning to the pharaohs. The great pyramids near Cairo are known as the Giza pyramids. What is? The great pyramids near Cairo are known as the Giza pyramids. The great Sphinx of Giza is a massive limestone image of a lion with a human head. It is dated to the time of Pharaoh Khafre. It is one of the largest sculptures of the world and measures 73 meters in length and 20 meters in height. Religion of the people. The Egyptian practiced polytheism. Polytheism means they preferred so many gods. So the Egyptians practiced polytheism. Amun, Re, Set, Tooth, Horus and Anubis are some of the gods of Egyptians. They worshipped many gods, but the sun god Re was the predominant one. Which is the predominant one? Sun. Later on, the sun god was called Ammon. Then philosophy, science and literature. The Egyptian civilization excelled in science, literature, philosophy, astronomy, mathematics and the measurement system. Sundial, water clock and glass were developed by the Egyptians. They devised a solar calendar that consisted of 12 months of 30 days each, with 5 days added to the end of a year. This calendar was introduced as early as 4200 BC. Literacy works included on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, magic and religion. The Egyptians also distinguished themselves in painting, art, sculpture, pottery, music and weaving. Then what are the writing system of the Egyptian people? Writing system. The Egyptians are well known for their writing system. Their form of writing is known as hieroglyphic. What is the form of writing is known as hieroglyphic. Hieroglyphic was used in the inscriptions on seals and other objects. The hieratic and another form of writing was used for common purposes. This form of writing used as a pictogram based system. Second one, the hieratic, that is a pictogram based system. It was developed around 3000 years BC and many texts and books were written using this script. Now, this inscription is on display in the British Museum, London. The hieroglyphic form of writing inscription is on display in the British Museum, that is in London. Then, characteristics and contributions of the Egyptian civilization. The Egyptians developed a solar calendar system. The pyramids and their designs show their mathematical and surveying skills. Hieroglyphic writing system attests to their skills in handling symbols. Preservation of human body in the form of mummies. What is mummies? Preservation of human body in the form of mummies. They applied innovations in the use of science and technology. One important news, the word paper. We are writing everything in the paper, is it? Yes. The word paper comes from papyrus. The Egyptians wrote on the leaves of a plant called papyrus, a kind of reed which grew on the banks of Nile. The word paper comes from papyrus. The Egyptians wrote on the leaves of a plant called papyrus, a kind of reed which grew on the banks of Nile. In this lesson, we studied about Egyptian civilization only. In the next class, we will see Mesopotamian civilization, Indus Valley civilization. Okay, thank you students.